Hello, friend. This is the weekly live series from Lawyers Design School, Legal Design Thinking in Real Life. I'm your host, Hannele Korhonen, and I'm the founder of Lawyers Design School. Today, I have the pleasure of talking to an incredible guest. I'm with Rose Devlin from Theory and Principle, and we will talk about what design and professional designers can do for law, how to improve legal experience for all with great design. Welcome, Rose, and thank you for joining us. How are you today?
I'm very good. Thank you for having me.
And where are you joining us from?
I'm in Portland, Maine, so here in the US.
Great. Would you start by introducing yourself to our audience? Who are you, and can you tell us something about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Rose Devlin, and I am the lead UX UI designer at Theory and Principle. We are a design agency that works with clients globally to build web and mobile applications designed to improve the legal experience for all. And I've been here at Theory and Principle for 4 years now. My background is in visual design. I went to college for graphic design. From there, I worked at a number of different agencies, focusing on other industries like e-commerce, healthcare, and fintech. I jumped around to a bunch of different agencies over the past kind of 15 years, and then I started doing legal design at Theory and Principle. And honestly, like legal design is not that different than all the different types of industries I was working in before, but it's really nice that now I can kind of just focus on one industry and start to kind of be more of an expert in that industry.
That's an interesting topic when you say that it's not that different, because that's actually one of my questions. Or because in these sessions we talk about legal design with different people, and it's always so interesting to hear the different definitions or approaches people have for legal design. How would you define it? How would you define legal design?
I think with legal design, what we're really trying to do with a lot of our different clients is take these kind of complex flows or forms and make them easier to understand for users, whether that user is, a person trying to understand their legal issue or even a lawyer trying to help somebody. So a lot of it is kind of taking this like complex flow and simplifying it down step by step and serving the user kind of exactly what they need at each step. And I say that is not that different from other industries, and that, a lot of these other industries will have like, setting up a healthcare account. You need to do certain things at each different step. And there are legal reasons why you need to do that. So I think, it's not that different. There's definitely a lot more rules, I think, around legal design that make it trickier, but in the end, I don't think it's, super different from other industries.
Mm. Yeah, because that's one of the ongoing discussions, that is legal design even a thing, or is it just design applied to law? And so it's nice to hear different thoughts around this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with that. It's just design applied to law, but there are definitely a lot of like common themes that we run into where we have been working in legal design, start to kind of realize, how things kind of work for our clients that might not work in other industries.
Yeah. Well, as Theory and Principle is a design agency, as you said, I'd imagine your business is very much based and evolved around design. Why do you think that design is important in your business? What would you say is the kind of the core reason for you in using design?
Well, I think, there are probably a couple different reasons. I mean, user experience design will make things easier for people to find their information that they need to find quicker. But also, like, good visual design builds trust in a product. So if you have something that is designed and well thought out, people will trust that more and they'll want to use it. If you have for some reason, a lot of legal products like don't value design, and I think they start to look kind of like older, and know if people would trust or use that as much as they might use something, like Uber or Airbnb, just because like that design is so seamless. So I think good design builds trust, and I think user experience design helps people find things quicker. It makes things simpler for them.
Definitely user experience, and I love that idea about trust, that it actually builds up trust, and then people start using the products because
Right.
then they actually trust it. We'll be looking at some examples a little bit later, but would you be able to give us a broad view on how you are using design in your business, or what does it mean in practice to use or kind of or base your business on design?
Yeah, I think our entire process is based on design with our clients. So we usually start with discovery. So we do a kickoff with the client, and then we'll do research. So all of that goes into building how the design will look. So we talk to people, we talk to stakeholders, we talk to users, and then we start to understand the problems. And then from there, we can start sketching. And sometimes we even sketch with clients to bring them into the process, just to kind of explore all different kinds of ideas. We don't like to just kind of pick one immediately and go with it. And then we definitely spend a lot of time prototyping and testing. And then when we get into the hi-fi visuals, we'll do mood boards to figure out what the mood will be for that kind of website or app or whatever we're building. And we take it from there to high fidelity designs that we kind of keep on building prototypes and testing as well. So, I mean, in all parts of the process, design is really important. And we're always involving the clients in the decisions and giving feedback constantly.
Yeah, it's great to hear that the user research is an actual part of the process, because sometimes I think that we see that you say that you are user centered, but then you just create the solution and hope for the best, that you made the right assumptions. So it's
Yeah. I mean, there are definitely times where we don't have the budget to do user testing, but we always try to advocate for it, just because that's the best way to get feedback from the users.
For sure. Yeah, designing with them and not for them.
Right. We do end up doing a lot of similar kinds of apps. Like over time, we've done a lot of legal aid websites for law help in different states, like floridalawhelp.com. And we've done a lot of those types of apps where it's just like a user coming to a website trying to get information. And a lot of times it's like a low-income user who doesn't have access to a computer. So there are certain themes that we've come to understand over time about these types of users, that, they might not be, their phone is probably their main computer, and they may not know they have a legal issue. They just know they have a problem. So things like that are kind of themes that we've come across on a lot of the clients that we've worked for. But it's still important to test with users in the end.
Yeah, it surely pays off to be doing this kind of works, because then you learn, and you don't every time need to kind of start from scratch, but anyway, to involve them in the process at some point.
Yeah.
One of the ongoing discussion in legal design, I think, is the question of kind of who should apply design thinking or legal design. And I think that one way to look at this question is to kind of understand the value and benefit of working with professional designers. What would you say is the kind of the biggest benefit in working together with professional designers and involving them or involving you in the process?
Well, I don't know, like if you were to just design on your own, you mean, and not involve a designer?
I mean that there's this kind of, I don't know if you have heard about this discussion, that who should be doing legal design. Is it only lawyers, or is it only designers, or is there something that actually can happen together, which kind of maybe reveals my own thinking?
I mean, I think it can happen together. I mean, as I mentioned before, we've definitely done like sketching with clients who are oftentimes our clients are lawyers, um, and they know what they want, but oftentimes they don't know what it would look like. So you know, they sketch out ideas, and then I'm there to be like, oh, well, this is like a common convention that we use in design to kind of get there. So they might have like an idea, but then I can kind of use my kind of toolkit of design resources to bring it to life. So I think, you know, you have to have both. You can't have one or the
That's a
other.
great way to put it, because you're right that people don't always, they cannot have the same kind of imagination of what this could look like if they have never seen it designed in a different way. So when there are other people and kind of professional designers showing what's possible, then
Right.
you're able to kind of broaden the scope and the view.
Exactly.
Well, it's interesting because you have a background in other industries. So I'm curious, what's it like in your opinion or perspective to work with law firms or legal professionals in design projects? You said that you have worked with for some legal aid projects and stuff like that, but many times there are lawyers involved.
Yeah. Yeah. Most of our clients are lawyers, even if they work at a legal aid or we're working with law firms. We also do work with some legal tech startups. And I think one of the biggest things working with lawyers is they want to usually try to include everything on the screen. So I've had clients send me like a Word document, like everything needs to go on the screen, and because it's all important. And I understand that, because a lot of times lawyers need to advise their clients on everything that might be applicable to them. But in terms of design, we have to kind of prioritize and use hierarchy on the screen to show kind of what's the most important part here, and then kind of show them in sequential format other parts of the information. Because if you show everything, then nothing, then you're not showing anything that's important, basically.
Exactly. Yeah, if everything is important, nothing is important, and yeah,
That's what I was trying to say.
yeah, exactly. And for lawyers, it kind of requires some kind of, you have to process your thoughts a little bit, that not every single piece of this document is as important as the other. So you need to be able to and think about the user as well.
Right.
Well, I'd be really, really interested and curious to see some concrete examples. I know that you have selected some examples that you could show us to make it more concrete. So
Yeah, sure.
go ahead and share your screen.
Oops. There we go.
Now it's coming through, yes.
Going with that theme of if everything is important, nothing is important, I wanted to show this one example first. And this was a wireframe we did for one of our clients to help people search for lawyers, basically. And they wanted to show a lot of information on this initial search result page about a lawyer. And what that meant was that one lawyer basically took up the whole frame. And these are search results. So that makes it hard to compare them side by side. So a way to kind of effectively show a little bit more information, more lawyers, we came up with this this design where you have all the lawyers in a table, and you can click on one and you see this modal which shows you details about that lawyer. So that was just one example of being able to show a little bit less initially, and then on another interaction show a little bit more information. So that was how we handled that with our client Priori.
Great example, and also shows that instead of having the text like so that when you put it in table, then you're able to show much more information in a short space.
Exactly. And compare side by side.
Exactly.
So that was one. I was just going to jump over to another example where this was Legal Tech Hub. So this is the before screen. I'm using the Wayback Machine to look at it. And then this one, this was a previous website that they had designed initially as kind of a startup to search for legal tech tools. So maybe some of your kind of audience is familiar with this. And we redesigned it. So basically, I think this is one of the visuals where you can see that we kind of changed this around to make it a more modern UI and build trust in the layout. So here's the redesigned version. Here, the search is just a simple search now where you can type in a keyword, which can either search for like a category or jump right to a solution or product. You can browse by topic and see a little bit more information towards the bottom. So I think this is kind of like a good before and after study to look at to see kind of how we might visually change design to build trust and also improve the user experience.
And what kind of team did you have working on this particular project?
So this was mostly just myself. I was the user experience and UI designer. We had a product manager as well to kind of help figure out the different tasks that we needed to do. But this was essentially kind of a redesign of their current site. So there wasn't a lot of different, we didn't build the site, they had their own developers. So it was essentially just a redesign.
And what kind of feedback did you get? It looks so different, and so kind of the navigation is so much more clear in the new version.
Yeah, I think we were trying to simplify the navigation, and to do that, we had to kind of consolidate different items and move things around. I think there's some things that are only accessible in the footer now that were less kind of important. And we worked on this from sketching with the client, like actually sketching on paper to try to figure out like what was the most important piece. And then we got into wireframes. And then I think part of the redesign was a lot around like color and making it a little bit more modern. So we did mood boards to kind of get to this design. And I was actually going to try to bring that up really, really quickly. Here it is. So mood boarding is essentially kind of taking different colors and styles and helping to define kind of what the mood and look and feel might be. So here was what we did. I think this is the one they chose. And it was actually kind of staying close to their old brand. So they had kind of like this green that we changed a little bit to be a little bit more lime green. And it was using the blue, but I think we changed the blue as well to be a little bit darker. And then we had asked them questions in our questionnaire about like what their mood evokes. And there were questions about like car, people. And so what we did was kind of show some different colors and fonts and design styles that might be used to work on the styles. So let me go back to the website so you can see kind of how that was translated.
Yeah, how it's then implemented. That's super interesting, because I think that especially with visuals, it's so different or so sometimes challenging to kind of communicate what do you want and what would be good, what you don't want, and then without these kind of like mood boards and some visual aids, it's difficult to. And I find that with lawyers, especially because they are so text based, so it's hard to hard to kind of ask ask if there are no these kind of tools to help with the process. Yeah, super interesting.
Yeah. And a lot of it is just kind of asking them for words like that describe the brand, I think. So like approachable, engaging, credible. And then what does that look like in the font? So that's my job, is to kind of find a font that looks a little bit more approachable or friendly.
Oh, that's great. Thank you for sharing. And sometimes you don't kind of, the good design is like you cannot really say what it is in the kind of final outcome, what it is that makes it so great. But then without that design factor, it's just not as approachable or as trustworthy, or some of these words.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. This was really good.
One last example to
Yeah,
show.
Go ahead.
I think this other product that we're working on internally, Virtual Law Clinic, is a product where we really used kind of design thinking with lawyers quite a bit. Just because it's an internal product that we're building, we can constantly kind of update it and change it. So that makes us be a little bit more agile. But so this product, Virtual Law Clinic, is an easy case management system for pro bono matters. So lawyers can log in and manage their pro bono land matters with other lawyers. And they can see information on a case that they're working on. They can see this one is like asylum. They can see the other attorneys working on it, any documents that might be uploaded. They can add a note for like the other lawyers to see about, the case has been updated, and then they can simply add notes. But I think the reason I wanted to just show this one was that we're constantly kind of testing this out with users and adding on features and building to it in a way that's like a bit more agile and uses more design thinking principles than maybe some other projects might not, that have kind of a timeline and a fixed budget.
This seems so cool and so, I think, very much needed, because pro bono work is well common for all the law firms, and then how you actually organize it efficiently. So I think this tool. So did you say that it's being developed, or is it ready already?
It's already built, and we're constantly adding to it. So we just added this messenger feature so that you can, if the client has added a phone, you can just, as the volunteer lawyer, I can just type in a message, and a message would go to my client's phone to get them to maybe like upload a document like a birth certificate if I'm working on their case. So the goal is to make it a little bit more seamless for communication between lawyers and clients, but also between lawyers who are working on a case together.
Oh, wow. Who was the client for this one, or is it possible for any law firm to use this?
Any law firm can use it. It started as a project we did for Simpson Thacher and Bartlett. We were building this, a different version of this for them, but then we kind of made this we realized this was something that was needed for probably a lot of law firms. So we kind of made it our own product that we can sell individually to law firms at this point.
Oh, that's great. That's great. There's definitely need for this. I've heard many times, so it's good to know. Good to know that you have a product for this.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
So I think that's the end of the examples that I have to share today.
Okay, great.
Else you wanted to see, or
let me see if I can go back to the normal view here. Yeah, so I think that was pretty much it. What we had planned. But can you tell us what are you currently doing or currently working on in Theory and Principle?
Sure. So We have a couple different designers, and we're all on different projects, but we kind of collaborate with each other every day and give feedback. The projects I'm working on a website that helps people get help on conservatorship. It's by Betzetic in California. So it's a website that it does like a triage flow to help people understand if conservatorship is a good fit for them, and then if they can get help specifically from the clinic. And then I'm also doing another project that's quite similar to the virtual law clinic that I was just showing you. It's called IAN, Immigration Advocates Network, and they're building kind of a website that will help people determine if they're eligible for any type of immigration, and then it will connect them to a pro bono or lawyer or advocate. So it will add like a front end basically to that virtual law clinic that I showed you, where the client can actually come in and answer a long series of questions to determine if they might be eligible for, DACA, asylum, TPS, all different types of immigration. So that's a big project that I'm working on now, and
wow.
it's pretty exciting. There's a lot of like forms involved and steps to figure out, but it's really cool.
Yeah, huge need also to kind of the access to justice issues for the immigrants and immigration. It's so huge all over the world, but I can imagine in States as well.
Definitely.
Yeah. Hey, where can people learn more about you if they want to check you up, you and Theory and Principle?
Well, we're theoryandprinciple.com. That's our website. And I'm on LinkedIn, so I guess that's where this is being hosted right now. So you could follow me on LinkedIn or connect that way. But yeah, I think those are kind of the two main places.
Yeah. And we can put the link to Theory and Principle website to the comments, and so that people can and the notes, so that people can find you and learn more about what you are doing.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Hey, thank you. Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to add that we are also looking for another designer right now. So if anybody's interested.
Oh, that's good. Looking for a new designer. Any designers there? So listening. So reach out.
Yeah,
that's great news. So it means that you are growing.
Yes. There's a lot of design work for us.
Wonderful to hear that. Hey, thank you so much for being here today and taking the time to talk with me. And thank you everybody who are listening there, and thank you for joining, and be tuned for the next episodes. Thank you, Rose.
Great. Thank you so much for having me, Hannah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.